This story starts with a man named Igor, a plumber at a big company. In the same place, there's Pina, a sweet woman who works as a coffee server. Both of them have been attracted to each other for a long time, but they both pretend like everything is normal. Deep down, though, the feeling gets harder to hide every day. One day, unexpectedly, they met in Igor's workspace. That brief moment immediately showed that their attraction was serious. In the middle of their work routine, they tried to take advantage of the chance to get closer by playing around. But Igor's workspace was cramped and uncomfortable, so they eventually stopped. They realized the place wasn't right. After talking for a bit, they agreed to postpone it and look for a quieter location another time. Since then, both of them felt they needed a more private space so they could continue their closeness without being disturbed by office matters. Their relationship developed slowly as they waited for the right time to continue their next meeting. Behind her life, Pina is a caring mother to her son, Lorenzo. Every day, Pina always takes Lorenzo to school and picks him up. One day, his teacher announced that in a month there would be a school festival with an animal-themed play. Lorenzo got the role of the lion, and he was very excited. That day, Lorenzo went home with his friend because Pina had to stay late. After finishing her tasks, Pina picked Lorenzo up and took him back to their small apartment. Pina is divorced, so they live together, just the two of them. Even so, Lorenzo still often communicates with his father, something Pina doesn't really want. When the house was quiet and Lorenzo was already asleep, Pina had a little habit to calm herself down, taking off her work clothes and enjoying a cigarette while relaxing. Unfortunately, lately her habit often gets interrupted because Lorenzo frequently wakes up in the middle of the night looking for her. She has no choice but to stop her relaxation time to calm Lorenzo down and put him back to sleep. Even though life isn't easy, Pina always tries to maintain balance between work, her role as a mother, and a little time for herself. Pina knows all of this is part of the journey she has to go through patiently. The next day, by chance, Pina met Igor in the cafeteria. Their gazes clearly understood each other. There, Pina gave a subtle signal, something that made Igor immediately catch her meaning. They finally agreed to meet in one of the quiet rooms at the office to continue the game they had postponed. But after they got there, Igor felt uncomfortable again. Igor then suggested something safer and calmer, finding a lodging so they could enjoy their time together without pressure and without fear of being disturbed. That night, Igor finally mustered the courage to rent a room. Igor arrived first and waited for Pina calmly, hoping everything would go smoothly. On the other side, Pina was still figuring out how to leave without making Lorenzo suspicious. After thinking for a bit, Pina lied to Lorenzo and said she had to go to her aunt's house who needed help. At first, the plan seemed safe. But not long after Pina left, her phone rang. Lorenzo called and asked for help. The problem turned out to be trivial. Lorenzo couldn't find his favorite strawberry jam. Even though she was annoyed, Pina had no choice but to go back home. When she arrived, Pina saw that Lorenzo had already found the jam and was eating bread while watching TV. As if nothing had happened, Pina could only sigh deeply. That night her plan with Igor failed again. Pina felt like she was being pranked by her own child. Pina felt disappointed and frustrated because her desire to have private time with Igor was postponed once more. Pina realized how difficult it was to balance her role as a single mother while living her personal life. Even so, she still wanted to find a way so both things could work without sacrificing one of them. Meanwhile, Igor kept trying to understand Pina's situation. Igor knew Pina's situation wasn't easy, and their relationship really needed time and understanding to go well. The next day, Pina and Igor met again at work. Pina apologized for not being able to come the night before. Pina promised that tonight she would definitely be able to meet Igor. After that, Pina went home first, while it was Igor's turn to find an excuse so he could get out of the house. That night, Igor told his wife, Flora, that he wanted to go out to get some snacks. Actually, Flora didn't really care. But Igor made a mistake by asking if Flora wanted to join. Unexpectedly, Flora agreed. In the end, they went out to eat together. Meanwhile, Pina kept calling Igor multiple times, but Igor didn't pick up. This situation felt like an unintentional payback. This time it was Pina who was waiting. Igor felt frustrated because his own mistake had ruined their plan. Even while eating with Flora, his mind kept going back to Pina. On the other side, Pina felt disappointed and a little angry because the night she had been looking forward to failed again. After that incident, Igor stopped showing up at the office. His absence made Pina even more upset and lost. Her mood changed easily, and she often felt angry for no clear reason. One day, Pina and Lorenzo went to a fabric store to buy materials for Lorenzo's lion costume for the school event. But Pina's bad mood since morning didn't get any better. While in the fabric store, her emotions peaked. The salesperson who was only trying to help ended up getting yelled at because Pina spoke in a high tone. Lorenzo, who saw his mother very angry, immediately felt scared and anxious. Without Pina knowing, Lorenzo moved away and hid. When Pina finally realized Lorenzo was no longer beside her, panic immediately set in. Pina walked around looking for him.
Lorenzo!
Luckily, Lorenzo was found not far from there, standing in the corner of the store with a scared face. Pina quickly approached him, hugged him, and calmed him down while apologizing for her harsh attitude. That incident made Pina reflect. She realized that her frustration with Igor shouldn't be carried over into her relationship with Lorenzo or other people. But apparently, that frustration hadn't stopped. At home, small things kept triggering her emotions, especially Lorenzo's habit of often leaving his toys scattered in his room. Seeing that mess, Pina's anger grew even stronger. In her unstable emotional state, Pina decided to throw away all of Lorenzo's toys while he was at school.
Pan que libre corre.
When Lorenzo came home and entered his room, he was immediately shocked. All his beloved toys were gone. His room felt empty and no longer cheerful like usual. When Lorenzo found out that his mother was the one who threw them away, feelings of sadness and disappointment immediately overwhelmed him. Pina tried to explain the reason behind her action, saying that his toys were old and ugly. As a replacement, Pina bought him a small toy car. But for Lorenzo, that gift wasn't enough to erase the sense of loss for the toys that had accompanied his days for so long.
Claro que sí, no tienes nada que agradecer. Te quiero muchísimo.
As time passed, Pina went through her life and work with increasingly declining enthusiasm. One day, while Pina was not far from her workplace, she accidentally saw Igor exercising with a friend. Seeing Igor again after so long made Pina's heart feel warm. A feeling of happiness appeared just like that, like a longing that was finally answered. After finishing his exercise, Igor sat down to rest for a bit. Seeing that moment, Pina immediately took out her phone and tried to call Igor, hoping to talk and maybe arrange a meeting. But her call wasn't answered. Although a bit disappointed, Pina still tried to think positively. She wanted to keep finding a way to communicate again, and didn't want to give up just like that. Then, Lorenzo came with a worried face. Lorenzo admitted that his toy car had fallen and was lost somewhere. Pina immediately tried to look for it, but found nothing. When they got home, Lorenzo asked Pina to make pancakes, but after they were done, Lorenzo didn't finish them. This kind of attitude from Lorenzo made Pina even more annoyed, and her emotions started to rise. Pina scolded Lorenzo in a harsher tone than usual.
Horas preparándose porque para complacerte te doy caos.
Ya no quiero.
Abre la boca.
But as time went on, Pina began to realize that her anger wasn't bringing any results. Lorenzo was still too small to understand. That realization came when she saw the changes in Lorenzo. The boy started to often pout, became afraid to speak, and seemed quieter than usual. Pina felt guilty because her own behavior was starting to hurt Lorenzo. Pina didn't want her child to hate her. When the lion costume for the school festival was finally finished, Pina saw Lorenzo so happy when he saw it.
Es la melena. Me gusta mucho.
His face was bright and full of pride. That moment made Pina feel relieved. Pina was reminded again that love is much more meaningful than unnecessary anger. A few days after that, the festival day finally arrived. Lorenzo wore his lion costume with full enthusiasm. However, unfortunately, Pina couldn't attend because Lorenzo had to go with his father for a while. That made her sad and heavy-hearted. Before Lorenzo left, Pina asked her ex-husband to take good care of Lorenzo while they were together. After Lorenzo left, Pina returned to her apartment, which now felt empty. Pina tried to enjoy the solitude while taking off all her work clothes, seeking peace in the quiet house. In the middle of that silence, Igor suddenly appeared. His arrival became a sweet surprise for Pina. They finally had time alone together, without anyone disturbing them. The moment they had been waiting for so long finally happened. They enjoyed that togetherness with feelings of freedom and happiness. There was no fear, nothing that needed to be hidden. That togetherness gave Pina new hope. Pina felt that happiness was still possible for her to find. Pina wanted to keep searching for it, not just for herself, but also for Lorenzo, so they could live a more peaceful and loving life. And the story ends.